Hey guys, welcome back to Bull 482. It is a nice brisk morning and it's about 45 degrees in here, nice and chilly. We're going to, you can't see it but it's right here, the 4bt we're going to put back into my 82 F-150 that this came out of. So today's goal is, well, put the engine in, and we're supposed to be getting some gauges today and tomorrow. So hopefully I get everything that I ordered tomorrow for my gauges. So in this video, at least the plan is to put the engine in the truck, get it physically mounted and just set in there. And then we're going to work on making an engine harness for this. I had one made up when I swapped this engine in about 6 years ago. But it's a little haggard and kind of, I do wiring a little bit nicer, and I have some nice weather pack connectors I'd like to use. And I'm going to do some different routing of the harness because I'm trying to make this thing look like there's almost no wiring going to it, or at least hide it as much as possible. Where it's not too like in your face like it has been. Alright tubes, it's been a while later in the day. I've had something come in the mail here, and seeing what I have and don't have gives me a better idea of not putting the engine in right away. So coming up with a new plan here. Now that I have my new gauges, these are glow shift, exhaust, boost, and water temp gauges. This is going to mount on the center of my dash instead of being on the pillar. So what I want to do is actually get these wired into the truck, and well, that might be a little tricky. We're going to have to rig up a battery so we can have cab power, so I'll have to deal with that. But so yeah, I kind of want to get these situated and get everything for the harnesses kind of ran out through my Firewall, which I will show you where I'm running my stuff through. Yeah, so with that being said, we're going to kind of focus on the gauges first, and then we'll start transitioning into taking the engine and putting that in, because I really want to make the engine harness while the engine's out, or at least make part of it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of see where these are going to sit and how they look in the truck, and then I'm going to start kind of putting stuff through my Firewall, and again I'll show you where that's all going, and then we'll just slowly peck away at it. Right now I've got the Firewall, I shot it with some truck bed coating. I couldn't quite find the insulation stuff I wanted, and I don't feel like ordering it right away, especially because when you get a lot of it, it's pretty expensive. I just actually need a square to put on my airbox, so I'm going to order that later, and that can be put on at any time. Firewall, though, I'm dressing up with some truck bed coating just to add a little extra kind of insulation on the sheet metal there, and kind of dress it up. Otherwise, we're gonna send it. We got a noise going on in here. I'm hearing something. Whoa, haven't sat in this truck in a while. This is a weird feeling. I haven't driven this thing in almost 2 months. Okay, so we got a pile of nonsense here. This dash I know is a hot mess. I kind of want this to be like right here. This is perfect. And then you can pivot these too, so you can move them around where you want. So I think what we'll do, we'll probably take the radio out, and we'll make a little bundle here, and we're literally just gonna go right in here somewhere. Find a nice little, probably right here in that corner, fill a void where there's a wiring harness. We might actually run our stuff down that way, and then it's gonna come down, and oh, you see that grommet right there? Yeah, we're gonna come down And then we're gonna go right in there. The only thing I have to extend actually on anything really is this green wire. This goes to the water temp. This is what goes to the sensor that will be used on the engine. So we won't really do anything with that just yet. In fact, yeah, all this stuff here we got ground, which is the black lead here. We've got red, I believe, is constant power, and then yellow is a switched, and then orange is for the dimmer. I've got a wire that I'm going to tap into for the dimmer. I think you just put some power to it and it just dims it. So I think there's a wire back there I'm going to try and tap into, part of the old radio circuit. See if we can find that, and then we'll tap into that. So I'm not really sure where I left off on the video. Yesterday was kind of not my day to make videos, so I just did a little bit of stuff off camera and got things kind of situated where I want it. This is where I wanted to mount my gauges and how I got them oriented and everything. I got 2 screws in holding it down. I got to get some more. The ones that I had were a little too big to hold it down, so I'm gonna get some more and screw the backside in. But otherwise, it's in there. The only thing I don't like is that. Some super glue will fix that. But anyways, she's been sitting in the sun a little bit. The other one seemed fine. I think I got a trick for that one. Just wrap some more electrical tape around it and expand it a little bit, and put that collar back on. That'll hold her down. Anyways, what I did is since I got that giant hole in my dash, I am gonna make a plate for that. Don't scream at me yet. What I'm doing for the wiring, you can see I got this all jimmy rigged here so I can test it. Yeah, so we're alive. But what I did, and what I'm planning on doing, is I've already ran so this is the line for the pyrometer, and then there's a boost line that you can't see come out of here. Excuse me. And it's going down and then over. It runs down here. Sorry, bumped you there a little bit. And then it comes down here, and this is gonna get loomed up and stuff, so it'll be kind of neat. It comes down, and then we run right here into this grommet. This is where all the cruise control stuff used to go. Well, this is where I'm going to be running my gauges through. I've got 2 more wires that I want to run down there. Actually, really, I just have one. That green wire we need to extend, and we're going to run it down into the firewall. The green wire is for the temperature sender unit for the water temp. We need to run that down there. So here's what we got going on. Here's the other side of the firewall. We have our boost line, which I left it long, obviously, because we're going to figure out where we want to put it on the intake manifold of the engine. My thought on this was to try and get it snuck up and around and, hidden behind stuff in the engine, and then have it come up a little service loop, clamp-a-lator, done. And then be nice and neat. Clean and neat is what I'm trying to, get done here. This guy here, I'm thinking I'm probably going to put I don't think I'm going to attach it to the firewall. I was thinking about attaching it to the firewall, but I'm actually thinking I'll probably attach it to the engine. But I just don't want it rubbing or, dangling on anything hot. I don't know if I talked about this, but this is my key on. Oh, that one's pretty stiff. We're gonna get rid of that. This is the key on for ignition. I'm gonna trim this back, and this is gonna power a relay. And the relay is going to power my injection pump and, well, mostly just power the injection pump. So we need to do that. We're gonna put a relay up over here somewhere. Run this up, and then we're going to run our new wires for the injection pump. They're going to come down through a loom, go through that plastic back there, and it's going to come over here to like a 4-pin connector I'm going to put in. and then we're good to go. This is my original water temperature sensor line for the gauge. I haven't been using it, so I'm probably just gonna snip this off and tuck it back somewhere. However, I've got the factory oil pressure sensor wire. This will be extended and ran along with our new injection pump wire, and run it down through here, and then it'll plug in. So we're really only gonna have like 3 wires going to the engine, 2 or 3 wires. The main engine harness is gonna be stupid, like simple, like just 1 wire, 2 wires maybe. So yeah, I'll bring you guys back when I make some progress. Okay, here's our progress report for our gauge install here. So I've got basically everything for these gauges ran down along here, and then it terminates and then goes through that grommet. Up above here, I don't know if you can see it, but I have made the harness that has the line for the water temperature circuit, but it also has the ground wire for all the gauges, and then the ground wire for the temperature sensor is all tied in one little eyelet, and it's attached to the cab ground. And so I got that all done and nice and pretty. And then here I'm wiring in all the constant and switched and illumination wires so far. Here's what we got. So orange, got them all tied and soldered together, goes to this red wire. I forgot to grab orange when I was at Napa, so I just used another red. So we're running along here. It's gonna go to this wire here. This is going to our radio. This is gonna dim the radio also. This has never been hooked up because I didn't know any better. But our actual wire that tells everything to dim is gonna be this, I think blue with a purple stripe, I think it's a purple stripe. Anyways, this wire gets 12 volts when this headlight switch is put on in any of the positions, or put in the running light or the headlight position. So we're gonna use that one. We're gonna extend it. It's a little short because, no, it's just the way it is. We'll extend it. We're gonna loop it right in here, solder it here, and then we'll tape this all up. We'll plug this in the radio, make sure all that works. And all these little guys here, I don't use these are for the speakers. These get taped up. I use an amplifier for my speaker and sub. It just sounds way better that way. So this will get all taped up with this cloth tape, and it'll be all one harness, nice and neat, and have good service loop on everything like I kind of got going on here. So that's kind of how this is looking. Yeah, so I kind of wish I knew I had this ground all janky. I would have tied it in with this, but I don't want to get too many grounds on stuff. We may actually cut this ground and extend it and run it down to the bar there, but I think this will be okay. I haven't had any problems with the radio cutting out, so we'll leave that well enough alone. But yeah, I'm just gonna extend that wire, solder all this stuff up, tape it, seal it, and then we should be done with the wiring part of the gauges, or at least getting them installed into the cab. I will need to go to the hardware store and get some small screws for this. I'm gonna need some like 1-inchers too. They're a little short. So I'll get some screws for that. We're gonna screw her right to the dash, and then that'll be done. And then I can put the radio back in. Yeah, so anyways, this is how it's looking right now. Oh, I also ran the power wire for that gauge there, that crappy auto meter I got there. It used to run its power through the Firewall and to my injection pump circuit. I've done away with that because I cleaned up all the wires and everything underneath there. This is now running across, and it's wrapped in this stuff. It comes across, and I think it's this guy right here, the skinny one. Yeah, that's the power wire for the speedo. So yeah, now we got everything kind of looped in, and this is all fused stuff. It's in a fused circuit. I think it taps into that yellow wire there, at least for the constant power. Yeah, so I'm just gonna kind of clean that up before we loom it, I'm gonna plug the radio in and verify my work, make sure the radio dims and make sure that everything works properly. And then I'll clean her up with some tape and wrap it up and call that a day there. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that so far. But here, let me show you. Speedo, these are working now. This pegs to 300 because it doesn't have a sender plugged in, which I have that on order. This one, the thermal probe is plugged in. If you unplug it, it pegs right to 2400. So if you first turn them on and you don't have anything plugged in and they peg out, don't freak out too much. And then this one's a mechanical, so it's not going to peg out. But I verified the thermal probe works. I heated it up with the MAP gas. I got her up to about 400 degrees. So yeah, this is going to be pretty cool. We're going to have EGT for the first time in this truck. We have a new boost gauge. I've always had just crappy boost gauges in here, and I'm tired of it. So we'll see how this one does. And then we got an actual water temp, and a digital one at that. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with these gauges so far. I'll see how long they last. You know, I've had problems with other brands. I've had problems with auto meters. I just, you know, I'm at the point where, you know, if I'm gonna have problems with the gauge, I want it to at least look good. Okay, I'm sorry if the fan is freaking blowing through the thing, but you're gonna have to bear with me here. Progress report time. Oh, I unhooked the battery. Gauge. I didn't screw that down yet. Let's see. So green. There's green in there. Check that out. The radio dims now. Those dim. We're in business. Today we're going to be working on engine wiring. So the plan is we want to kind of eliminate having any wiring right here for the most part for all of our stuff. All the headlight wiring harnesses and stuff are all tucked behind the fenders now. So all this is nice and clean as far as wiring goes. So you can see right here, this is what I have left of the factory engine harness. So this red with a white stripe is for the water temperature gauge for the factory setup. I'm actually going to be clipping this off, heat shrinking it off, and tucking it. We will no longer be using that. This is our oil pressure gauge sensor for the factory dash setup. We'll be extending this, and it'll be part of a loom that's going to go down and into this plastic conduit box. It'll come out here, and we'll have like a 2 or 3 pin connector here, and that's where the engine harness that we're going to make in this video is going to come off of the engine. But anyway, so this will turn the relay on. The relay will send power through the harness over here. It'll go to the injection pump and the cold start advance and all that stuff. So here's our relay. This is just a 5-wire relay. We're only going to be using 4 of them. So this is our ground. This is going to get a terminal, and I'll probably just ground it right here like that. And then I believe this is our trigger wire. I have to look up the diagram for this, but we got an input and an output. I'm going to be tapping into, because this is kind of a low amp, low voltage thing. I'm going to use this guy right here. This has got constant battery power. It's kind of a thicker wire too, so we're going to use that to supply our relay. And then we'll take this guy, shorten him up a little bit, and solder it into this, and then that'll give us our trigger, and then our output we're going to take and run it along in our new harness that we're going to make. I had to refresh my memory on these relays. This yellow wire on this is unused. I don't even know why it's there. I just snipped her right off. So either one of these wires can be used as a ground. On a wiring diagram, it's going to say that this is the ground and then this is your positive. But I've been using this as the ground because it's black, and then this, you need a switch source goes to here that energizes it, and then this will be your input from your alternator or your battery, and then your output's the blue. So, and I verified that with the meter to make sure we had continuity on these two. So what we'll do is we'll have this wire will get soldered into that yellow wire I was just showing you. This is going to go to our output to our injection pump. This is going to be our ground, which we're just going to do like that. It'll have a body ground, and then this is going to come from our ignition source, which is that white and blue dotted wire I showed you. Okay, here's what we got going on. So yellow feeds this yellow, which goes to the red on this relay. That's our source, and then we have, I'm using the black as the ground, and then the white goes to our white wire coming out of the cab. That's our trigger for the relay, and then our blue is our output. That goes to this red wire, and this is going to go, after it gets routed, going to get a plug, and that'll go to our injection pump. Or, yeah, eventually it'll go to the injection pump. This green wire is my extension for my oil pressure wire. So that I left kind of long. Actually, it doesn't matter. We're going to trim this back and put a plug on it right there. I got to find my, got some expanded mesh. I don't know what I did with it. Well, today tubes might be getting close to quitting time. I'm going to make this plug, and then a later part in this video we'll make the other side of the engine harness. I'm getting to a point where I'm ready to, I need to eat and have dinner, but maybe have some drink. Let's go get a plug. I think we're just going to use a 2-pin. Here's my box of goodies. It's the first time I've been able to use this. I bought this just for this purpose. So I think what we'll do, we're just going to use a 2-pinner. Got both ends there. I believe I got this off of Amazon. So the way these work, you got to pop these little red collars out. I got to go find a pick. Get those out. Same thing with these. Hopefully we don't break one. I believe these get the big pins. So pretty much just get your wire in here, wrap this around the insulation, and then crimp it down. And then you can plug this in, and if you did it right, it should click in. So I'm gonna put this together. This is kind of a tedious part. I really don't feel like filming, so I'll get that done. So we'll add that onto here. I'll probably add this one. We'll go on this side, and then this guy here will go on the engine. So that's what we're working with here. I was attempting to make a video last night. I got a little drinky, so I stopped working on this. You see, I've got my KSB temperature sensor ready to rock. Here's what's going to happen. I got the, really wasn't that big of a deal doing the truck side of the engine harness. I've got my 2-wire connector, power, and then oil pressure wire all set up in there. And then so now we're working on the engine, and on the engine side of things, what I'm looking to do is, well, somewhere around here, we might even use this, take that screw out, and we'll put a hole down for our electrical connector. But I'm thinking right here I'm going to have the plug come in and plug in there, because again I'm trying to kind of hide the engine harness and everything, so I want to get it down low and just kind of hidden out of the way. So my plan is to have it come here, it'll come up, tie into here, and then it'll come around, and then we'll have one wire coming from our power will go here, and then another one will come from here, and it's going to come along down here, back down around town, come into here, and then there's going to be another, the oil pressure wire that'll come down on this harness and it'll terminate here for the oil pressure sensor. This is the wiring harness, all loomed up. It's basically double insulated. It's got this mesh on it, and then it's got some fabric electrical tape. Got our pigtail here all nice and situated. This is all wrapped up, double taped. Other end of the truck's good to go. So we got one wire. We got a main power wire, comes in here. I basically cut it, stripped it, tied it into here, and then I took my other power wire that has to go to the injection pump that tees off of the same line, soldered together, and so now we have one line one wire that has to go through here first, and then goes down to our KSB solenoid, which is what this wire is for, and then we've got one that's just straight through and comes all the way here, and this is for the injection pump. This one that kind of dangles down is for the oil pressure switch. So that's what she looks like. She's going to go up back in there, and I'm going to zip tie it up against the fuel lines, and that's all she wrote. That part of the main engine harness is made. This is all it is. Looks kind of weird though, doesn't it? Almost like I don't know, kind of funky looking, but let's see how we make out here and get her situated. Check that out. How do you like that? Professional, right? Cool. Well, guys, that will be it for this video. I wanted to thank everybody for watching, and thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and click the little bell down below. Also, check out our links down in the description for Facebook groups and email in case you want to contact me for any information or help on a project. And I also will have links down below for parts and stuff, and where I get all my electrical stuff. Again, I haven't gotten around to it just yet, but I said I was going to make an Amazon store for stuff that I buy, so I got to look into that. But that'll be something later down the road we'll have. Anyways, that's it for the wiring here. In the next video, we're going to work on installing our whatchamacallit. Yeah, you know the thing. No, our pyrometer. We need to install that. And our water temp sensor, we're going to install that. And then after that, we're going to put the engine into the truck. And then we'll start doing some more routing of electrical harnesses and stuff for the passenger side of the engine. This is all ready to go. We should be able to plug this in. I made sure I put my wires in the right orientation on this. These are numbered. There's a 1 and a 2. The number 1 slot is where the hot lead goes for the injection pump. So yeah, this should be plug and play, ready to go. Just done. Yeah, I've got to get a different fitting here for my boost gauge. We've got to hook that up. So we need to get another 1/8 inch national pipe thread hose barb, 1/4 inch hose barb. Get that in there. That's what I have here. And I got some 3/16 line over this, and that's not coming off. This setup here, I had to do this a while ago, many years ago actually, because the original hard line had broken off, and it happened here at home, so I had to go to the hardware store and just make something work, and you know, it hasn't been a problem ever since I put that in there, so I might get some hold downs and maybe do something like this, lock that down, but yeah, probably be fine. Also, yeah, no. Alright guys, that's it for this video. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.